Hey there, sisterhood. April here, and I'm so excited to launch you into the universe of What's Her Superpower. Superpowers, sisterhood, secrets revealed. What's Her Superpower explodes onto the scene, alternating between real talk solo episodes and electrifying guest interviews. Hi and welcome. Today we are honored to have Stacey Johnson with us. She is the CEO and founder of the Stacey Johnson Coaching, and she has a great program she's going to tell us a little bit about, the Thrive Beyond Anxiety, if I can say it, empowering working women to reclaim presence and confidence. Welcome, Stacey. I'm so glad to have you here today. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. I am a therapist in the state of Ohio, and I'm also a woman empowerment coach. I am a mom of two beautiful girls. I'm recently a widow. It's been a little over 2 years, which has kind of empowered me to do this program. And I love being outside and camping when the weather is more cooperative here in Ohio. And I started my coaching program this year because I wanted to, I've been a therapist and I wanted to reach more women. And so coaching allows me to do that because when you can do it virtually, you can reach all over the world.
Definitely. And especially with group coaching a lot of people they prefer one-on-one coaching, but the great thing about group coaching is that you can reach more people.
You can reach more people. And the nice thing about group coaching as well is that it helps us feel not alone. We don't feel like we're the only ones dealing with this concern or this issue. And it kind of holds us a little bit more accountable, kind of makes us continue want to do the work because the other people in the group are also doing the work and coming to the group and sharing their experiences as well.
I've heard that. I've talked to some other people that do group coaching, and that's what they said as far as it helps with people. Even if they don't, they're not your big talkers, they kind of sit back and they watch. At least it gives them that feeling of, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not a unicorn.
Right. They can be a silent group member and still learn because the other members may be, sharing similar stories, or when they ask for things that are, that I'm teaching in my program and they ask it, then that other member may have had that same question, or they just can learn from what is being talked about.
Yeah. Have you found that you create that safe atmosphere and that helps them open up?
Yes, I'm, in counseling, I've been doing group work for a long time, but this is brand new group coaching online for me. It's just starting. But yes, a group atmosphere does allow people to feel a little bit more safer to open up. One-on-one, people are kind of backed into a corner, they sometimes feel like, because it's just that they kind of feel like the center of attention because it's one-on-one in a, maybe a closed room or even on, a Zoom call, and group just has that kind of safety feeling.
Yeah. Now, creating your own company, starting your own company, is this something you've done before your husband passed away, or have you done that since?
No, I've done this since. Prior to when he was still alive, I was in an alternative school. I was worked in a special needs program. I was the building supervisor and the school therapist. So I helped a lot of teachers understand the mental health ability of, or the mental health situations that the students were dealing with, and then dealt with all of the crisis and parent concerns. And then I also did some therapy in our mental health centers near us, along with the ER. And then the year that he passed away, I started getting into telehealth and to bring our family some more income, because we were down to just the one income. So we needed to bring in more. And as the year went through, it was exhausting hours at the school because we were short staff, and I was driving a van and then working all day and then coming home in the evening and doing telehealth. And so I just wasn't present for my family. And my mom needed some assistance here and there. She has had a lot of eye concerns and needs someone to take her to doctor's appointments. And I decided that I wanted to start my own company so I would be more available to my family. And I also wanted to be able to just take my knowledge and offer it to more women than I can in this little corner of Ohio.
For one thing, I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I mean, that's hard enough to go through. But then, yeah, I can only imagine you're trying to stay afloat with one income, and you're also trying to support your family through the loss of, your daughters, through the loss of their father and all of that, and dealing with it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I think the answer to my that would make my life easier is just to start my own business, which is not an easy thing in itself, and good in good circumstances.
Right. Yeah, it's been a challenge. I was also dealt with my own anxiety throughout the years. I didn't really realize that it was anxiety, until I started doing a little bit more of my own trainings to get my license renewed. And then realizing that, I was probably more of one of those high achieving anxious people, because I, always was on the go doing things, making sure that everybody else's needs were met. But then being a little bit more snappy to my kids in the evenings, kind of feeling guilty about decisions, overthinking things. And then once my husband passed, I did a little bit of grief coaching myself. I worked with a grief coach, and then realized that the feelings that were kind of underneath, that were anxiety. And then, I had a lot of what if scenarios playing on in my head after he passed, in regards to taking care of my kids, that I started taking all this knowledge, and I wrote the modules that kind of go along in my program. In my anti-anxiety blueprint, I created this, and I just kind of put everything that I knew into this and realized, yep, this is what I can do to help people.
That's so good. Yeah. Unfortunately, I guess it's fortunate and unfortunate, but a lot of times we have to walk the path to realize what gift we have to give to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you haven't been there and you haven't looked for resources and and like you said, sometimes you just don't realize you're just functioning. You're just getting stuff done until all of a sudden you stop, or you hear something and you're like, hey, that might be me.
Right.
So why the focus on, I love that you're focusing on working women. Why specifically there?
Well, because that's me. When I started the telehealth shortly after my husband passed, that was the population that was seeking out the individual counseling through the telehealth portal that I use. And so I figured, if I'm helping this many people through the telehealth just in the state of Ohio, there has to be a lot more women out there that need the help as well. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of why I picked that group.
Now, how have you seen this what's COVID? What's the effect of COVID on this? Because I'm sure during it there was adjustments, there was anxiety, and then after, as we've come out of it and we're adjusting to life after COVID, there's a lot of adjustments there.
Yeah, I've definitely seen an increase. A lot of the women that also are, there's a lot of concern in regards to, doctors are calling it health anxiety. It's not in the mental health. You can't diagnose it. It's not in the DSM-5. You can't be like, oh yeah, this is what it is. It's just that a lot of women are having, or even men, are having symptoms that are health related, and they continue to are concerned that it's going to be something else. They don't know if it's, was it a relation to having COVID, this long-term effect, or now do I have, a heart condition or something else? And then they just do tons of Google research. And then bottom line, there is nothing medically wrong, but I've also, it seems like anxiety has definitely increased from COVID. Family members, people have lost family members from COVID, or they, a lot of people still have that fear of being out in large places. So,
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I was a germaphobe before COVID. So COVID just kind of, and I hate to say put me over the edge, but I just kind of, I shut down. I hate to say shut down. I stayed home. I was like, okay, well, if I can't go out safely, I'll just stay home. And that's how I functioned this way. It was through Zoom. It was, phone calls, texting, things like that. But, it was putting a order into Walmart and waiting 2 weeks for groceries because that's as soon as I could get a pickup date.
Yeah.
So luckily the world adjusted. But yeah, it got to the point. And, personally, I got the vaccine because I was tired of living as a hermit.
Right. Well, and the one thing that I have to say that came out of COVID was the fact that people are more comfortable in doing these kind of Zoom calls. Prior to that, I did not do therapy online. I was always an in-person therapist. But it's becoming more and more comfortable for people, because, and especially in that, again, that group kind of coaching realm, people are in their comfort of their own home, or maybe even in their own office space, depending on the time of the group. And it makes it a little bit more easier and people have adjusted to that.
Now, it seems like we came out of COVID because during COVID, there was more self-care, there was more family time, good or bad, however that worked out for you. But then we went from like 0 to 100 miles an hour after we came out of COVID, because everybody's like, oh, I haven't done whatever in so long that they went into overdrive. Have you noticed, have you had people come to you for that kind of like, I don't know how to deal with this?
Yeah. There's been, several people have also been like, yeah, I'm just nonstop. And so part of my program is, I do a whole module in just regards to self-care, and I have, individuals that will teach yoga or Pilates. I'm going to invite sleep is definitely a big issue. Our sleep has been affected, because that seems to be the theme for women as well, is that they just think so much. We overthink and our worries, and we have a hard time shutting our brain off. And so our sleep has been affected. So I will have a sleep expert be a guest speaker in my program to help with that as well.
Nice. Now, as a licensed therapist in the state of Ohio, as you're doing courses, do you have to be licensed in whatever state that person's in, or as long as you're licensed in your state?
No, and actually, because coaching doesn't require a license, that's just a plus for me, is that women may trust that I know a little bit more about anxiety because I do have a license. Coaching does not require a license in the state of Ohio, in any state. And I'm not providing medical necessity. I'm not diagnosing or developing a treatment plan. I'm educating, using some of the tools that I've learned through therapy. I'm using some of the cognitive reconstruction techniques. I'm going to be using some emotional freedom techniques with tapping. But I'm not providing that medical necessity that you would need a license for.
So it's that fine line of you can use the techniques, but you don't have to worry about licensing. So that's great for your clients.
Right.
So what do you have planned for 2024 personally and professionally?
Personally, I will be just continuing camping with my family. No big trips were planned this year. Last year we went on a cruise as a family. This year we don't really have anything planned. Both my kids are in school. The one is starting a nursing program, so she won't have any time off. So we'll just do our camping over the summer. And then professionally, I want to continue to provide coaching to as many women as possible. And I want to look into hosting a retreat somewhere. Haven't decided if I want to do, warm southern areas, or if I want to do more of like a Colorado, Montana kind of hiking, yoga, mental health retreat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that sounds so good. And don't you love how now your daughters, refresh my memory? I want to say what?
I have a 22-year-old that's going into the nursing program, and I have a 19-year-old that is in business administration.
Okay.
She wants to also become an entrepreneur.
So no son-in-laws yet?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I love that you are taking that time with your girls while, it's just the three of you. You can go, you can do family vacations. We've started doing that because my husband and I both came to the conclusion that, when we die, we don't want the kids to just get a check in the mail and say, here,
Right.
We would rather take that and spend it on time together now. So when we're gone, those memories are there because you can't buy memories.
No, you cannot. And what we did find, in, losing my husband, it was so quick and so unexpected that we realize how much you value time.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And, and that's just it. We, like you said, we don't know how much time we have on this earth. And, the people that are close to us, we need to make that time to spend with them. So last year we have one son-in-law, one we think soon to be son-in-law. And the adults, we all went to Dominican last year. And we've got two granddaughters. And then this year we're going to Maine. So that way especially our oldest granddaughter's kind of in that transition of she's 19, she'll be 20 next month.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So she's like, well, I'm over 18. Why can't I go to Dominican? I said, you're not going to Dominican.
Right.
This is the adult trip. So, but she's going to start working now and all this other stuff. So yeah, but the youngest is 12. So 12 going on 30, but so we'll, she'll go with us to Maine and just, there's so much to see. And my husband and I are both retired military. So we've been just about all the way around the world.
Okay.
But it's stateside that we haven't seen. There's still states that we haven't been to.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
yeah, I wouldn't mind doing more traveling. The girls and I may take a small little weekend trip to do something before the oldest one starts her nursing program. But yeah, last year we went on a cruise, and so that was a pretty big trip for us. And this year to probably just stay a little local.
Yep. It just kind of depends on the year.
Right.
All right. So there's two things that I ask everybody. So the first one is, what do you feel like your superpower that you bring to your business as a female? What's your superpower?
Probably the ability to just listen to people's needs. Yeah.
And some people don't think that is a great skill, but if we listened a lot more than what we talked, I think we'd all be better off.
Right.
Because there's a skill to active listening. And before we started, I told her that, if you see me writing, you said something that triggered something in me, and I want to ask you about it. But if I don't write it down, I'm going to have that question in my head. And I'm really not going to be listening while you continue to talk. So yeah, that's why y'all see me scribbling stuff. And the last question is, what is your word for 2024?
I don't have one word. I have a mantra, and it's you got this.
Love that little self-affirmation.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, Stacey, thank you so much for joining us today. And
Thank you.
Can't wait to see how many women that you bless with your business and, come out stronger the other side just for, being in your presence.
Thank you so much.
And Stacey's going to, I think, give us maybe a gift. So make sure you look in the description. We'll have all her contact information and any links that you can get in touch with her if you were, if you fall into her category.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Forget unicorns. Unlock your true potential with actionable tips, inspiring stories, and a whole lot of laughs. Join the mission. Subscribe now. Find your own What's Her Superpower. Join the mission.